Subscribe to Soul of Kindness for more heart-touching stories. He was dying on the hospital bed, and the only person in that building who could save his life was the woman he had abandoned 3 years ago. She was 7 months pregnant. She was exhausted. She was heartbroken, and she already knew exactly who he was from the moment they wheeled him through those doors. The night Marcus arrived at St. Clair's Medical Center, nobody thought he would make it to morning. He was 29 years old, athletic build, sharp features, the kind of man who looked like life had always been easy for him. But tonight, his body was shutting down. Both kidneys were failing. His blood pressure was crashing. The monitors in the ICU screamed warnings that the nurses had learned to fear. Dr. Priya Chen, the attending physician on night shift, moved fast. She barked orders, called the nephrology team, and demanded a full blood panel within the hour. She had seen critical cases before, but something about this one made her pause. The patient's emergency contact form was blank. No family, no wife, no friends. Just a name, Marcus Allen, and a single line written in small, shaky handwriting at the bottom of the intake form. "I have no one." Down the hall in the nurses' station, a young woman looked up from her paperwork. Her name was Lily. She was 27, 7 months pregnant, her scrubs stretched tight across her belly. She had been working double shifts for weeks, saving money, staying busy, trying to fill the silence in her apartment with something that mattered. She picked up the new patient chart the desk nurse slid across the counter. She read the name. Her hands went completely still. Marcus Allen. The man who had destroyed her life was lying 30 feet away from her. 3 years ago, Marcus and Lily had been married. They were young, in love, the kind of couple that made other people believe in something. They had met in college. She was studying nursing. He was in business school, and from the first week, everyone around them knew it was serious. They got married at 24. Small ceremony, simple vows, real promises. But Marcus came from a wealthy family, and his parents never accepted Lily. She was too quiet for them, too ordinary. Not the kind of woman they had imagined for their son. For 2 years, Marcus tried to balance both worlds, his wife and his family's expectations. But slowly, without Lily even noticing, he started choosing his family over her. He stopped defending her at dinners. He stopped coming home early. He started spending weekends at his parents' estate, and when Lily asked questions, he answered with silence. Then one evening, she found the divorce papers on the kitchen counter. No conversation, no warning, no goodbye, just a signature line and a note that said, "This is better for both of us." He had already left. His clothes were gone. His key was on the table. Lily sat on the kitchen floor for 3 hours. She was 24 years old, alone, and completely broken, and she had just found out, that same morning, that she was pregnant. She never told him. Now, standing in the nurse's station 3 years later, Lily pressed one hand against her belly and closed her eyes. The baby inside her, this baby, was not Marcus's. She had moved on. Quietly, painfully, bravely, she had finished her nursing degree, built a life, found a gentleman named David who loved her without conditions. They were engaged. The baby was his. She had healed, or so she thought. She looked down at the chart again. Bilateral renal failure. Critical condition. No donor match on file. She could ask to be removed from his care. Any nurse could request a reassignment for personal reasons. Nobody would question her. She stood there for a long moment. Then she picked up the chart, clipped her pen to her pocket and walked toward room 7. She told herself it was professionalism. She told herself she was just doing her job. But somewhere deeper, in a place she hadn't visited in 3 years, she needed to see his face. She needed to know if he felt any of it. When Lily walked into the room, Marcus was barely conscious. His eyes were half open, glassy, unfocused. His skin had taken on the pale grey colour that nurses recognized immediately. The colour of a body running out of time. IV lines ran from both arms. The dialysis machine beside him hummed steadily, doing the work his kidneys could no longer do. Lily checked his vitals with steady hands. She updated his chart. She adjusted his IV drip. She did everything exactly as she was trained to do. Then his eyes focused. He looked at her face, really looked. And for 1 second, the entire room seemed to stop breathing. "Lily," he whispered. His voice was raw, cracked, nothing like the confident man she remembered. She didn't answer immediately. She finished writing her notes, capped her pen, and looked at him calmly. "Your blood pressure is stabilizing," she said. "The doctor will be in at 6 a.m. to review your case." "Lily, You need to rest, Mr. Allen." She walked out before he could say another word. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall. Her heart was hammering. Her hands, for the first time that night, were shaking. Down the hall, her colleague Jamie touched her arm gently. "You okay?" "You look pale." "I'm fine," Lily said quietly. "Just tired." She was not fine. By morning, the situation had become desperate. Dr. Chen called an emergency case meeting. Marcus's remaining kidney function was down to 11%. Without a transplant within days, not weeks, he would not survive. The hospital's donor registry had been checked. No matches. His blood type was AB negative, one of the rarest types in the country. "We need to contact any biological family," Dr. Chen said, looking around the room. "Parents, siblings, anyone who could be tested." The social worker on the case shook her head. "Mother is deceased. Father refused contact. No siblings on record." The room went quiet. Lily sat in the corner of that meeting, clipboard in her lap, saying nothing, because she knew something nobody else in that room knew. She knew that Marcus had a younger brother, a half-brother his father had kept secret, from a relationship before his parents' marriage. Marcus had told her about it once, late at night. In that quiet way, people share things they've never told anyone else. The brother's name was Daniel. He lived in the same city. Marcus had never reached out to him. His father had forbidden it. Lily had never met Daniel. She didn't have his number, but she remembered the name of the neighborhood Marcus had mentioned. She remembered the street. She spent her lunch break making calls. It took her 4 hours and 11 wrong numbers. But she found him. Daniel was 25 years old, quiet and completely stunned when Lily called. He knew about Marcus, had always known. He had a half-brother, but had never been contacted. He had grown up in the shadow of a father who pretended he didn't exist, and a brother who had followed the family rules without question. Lily explained the situation simply. No dramatics. Just facts. "He's dying. He needs a kidney. You might be his only match. You don't owe him anything. But I thought you deserved the choice." Daniel was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "I'll come in tomorrow." When Lily hung up the phone, she sat in the hospital stairwell alone. She was exhausted. Her back ached. Her feet were swollen. She had worked 11 hours straight, was 7 months pregnant, and had just spent her break tracking down the one person who might save the life of the man who had broken her heart. She pressed her face into her hands. She didn't cry. She just sat there very quietly and wondered what kind of person she was becoming, and whether that was a good thing or a terrifying one. Daniel came in the next morning and was tested immediately. The results came back in the afternoon. He was a match. When Dr. Chen delivered the news to Marcus, his reaction was not what anyone expected. He didn't look relieved. He looked like a man who had just been handed a mirror. "Who found him?" Marcus asked. "Who made the call?" Dr. Chen glanced at her notes. "One of our nurses tracked down the contact. Lily." Marcus closed his eyes. That evening, against medical advice, he asked to be unhooked from the dialysis machine long enough to speak to Lily. The nurses argued with him. He refused to back down. Finally, Dr. Chen allowed it. 5 minutes, monitored closely. Lily stood at the door of his room with her arms crossed. "You didn't have to do that," Marcus said. His voice was quieter than she had ever heard it. "No," Lily agreed. "I didn't." "Why did you?" She was silent for a moment. Then she looked at him, really looked at him, the way she hadn't let herself do since that first night. "Because I decided a long time ago that what you did to me was not going to change who I am," she said. "I'm not kind because you deserve it, Marcus. I'm kind because I do." He didn't have a response. She turned to leave. "Lily," his voice cracked, I left you because my father threatened to cut me off completely. I was a coward. I chose money over you, and I have regretted it every single day since." She paused with her hand on the door. "I know," she said softly. "I figured that out a long time ago." She walked out, and this time it didn't hurt. The surgery was scheduled for the following Thursday. Daniel, the half-brother Marcus had never known, donated his kidney without hesitation. In the pre-surgery waiting room, the two brothers spoke for the first time. No cameras, no witnesses, just two young men separated by a father's pride and years of silence, finally sitting in the same room. What they said to each other, no one knows. But the nurses on duty said that when they wheeled Daniel in for prep, he was calm, and when Marcus was brought through next, his eyes were red. The surgery lasted 6 hours. It was successful. 3 weeks later, Marcus was discharged. He walked out of St. Clair's Medical Center on a bright Tuesday morning, thinner, slower, changed in a way that had nothing to do with his body. Lily was at the nurse's station when he passed. He stopped. He looked at her, at the fullness of her belly, at the ring on her finger, at the steady, peaceful expression on her face. "You look happy," he said simply. "I am," she replied. He nodded once, like a man accepting something he had no right to argue with. "I'm going to be better," he said. "I don't expect anything from you. I just want you to know." Lily looked at him for a long moment. "Good," she said. "Be better. You have a brother now. Don't waste that." He walked out the door. Lily watched him go, one hand resting gently on her belly, and felt something she hadn't expected in that moment. Not sadness, not anger, just peace. Full, quiet, earned peace. 2 months later, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. She named her Grace. Some people come back into your life not to restart what was lost, but to show you how far you've come. Lily didn't save Marcus because she still loved him. She saved him because she had become someone who no longer needed him to suffer in order for her to feel whole. That is not weakness. That is the rarest kind of strength there is. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And don't forget, subscribe to Soul of Kindness, because in a world full of noise, kindness is still the most powerful thing. Drop a comment below. Do you think Lily made the right choice? Would you have done the same?